What is up, everybody, man? I'm still kind of sick, I'm not gonna lie, but I personally feel like I'm doing a little bit better. I can barely get any sleep, but honestly, like, I'm just gonna roll through it. But I told you guys that we're reviewing like a ton of Nexus products this week, and today we have the Nexus 4, and we're gonna talk about how it holds up in 2018. Now, the Nexus 4 came out in 2012, and I actually had it as a daily driver for like almost 2 years. And considering it came out almost 6 years ago, I think honestly, like, this is one of the best looking Android phones that were ever released. The body is kind of premium. Now, the Nexus line at this time were known as like the high-end, cheaper phones that Google made, so the body is kind of premium. The glass back was probably the dopest thing Google ever did. The texture with the glass on the back, oh my god, that was so amazing. But there's plastic pretty much everywhere else. The volume and power buttons aren't that premium feeling as well. But I kind of like the body. I'd rate it like probably like a 7.5, 8 out of 10. Now, the front has a 4.7-inch screen, which is actually the same size as the iPhone 8 screen, and it has almost the same resolution as well, and it almost has the same PPI, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. And above that, we have a front-facing camera, and turning on the phone, we actually have Android 5.1 Lollipop, which is kind of old, but this phone runs Android Lollipop pretty well. Now that's the latest version it officially supports, but the best reason about getting a Nexus, especially back in like 2012, 2013, and even at this time, is there's just such huge development communities behind these phones. So this phone is still getting unofficial support, and I believe there's actually an Android 8.0 ROM out for it. I'm not too sure about that, but I would probably say there is. But when I had my Nexus 4 as a daily driver, I custom ROM'd it and I rooted it and I flashed so much stuff on it, and it was super worth it. I had like literally so much fun doing that. Now, switching to performance is actually kind of good. It had a quad core processor clocked in at 1.5 gigahertz, and it has 2 gigabytes of RAM. Even though it doesn't have the greatest of specs, I think at that time it was like groundbreaking, and even now, like, it still kind of holds up fairly okay. Android 5.0 actually wasn't that bad of stock software. I would say like 95 or like 99% of apps on the App Store are still supported on this phone, and gaming is also pretty good. I'm pretty shocked how it was able to handle some casual gaming and even some heavy gaming as well. It doesn't run games perfectly, I'm not gonna lie, but it's not that bad for almost a 6-year-old phone. And now, switching to the cameras, they're actually not that good. The cameras are probably the worst part about this phone. At this time, the Nexus line were notorious of having pretty bad cameras. There's an 8 megapixel camera on the back, and there's nothing really going for it. Colors are all washed out. It's such a weird camera sensor they put on it, and there's a 1.2 megapixel front-facing camera. Unless you're outside taking photos, if you're anywhere but outside taking selfies, it's not gonna come out that good, I'll be honest. And even battery life, like, pretty interesting enough, I was actually getting pretty good battery life at the time when I had it as a daily driver because I flashed a kernel on it and several other ROMs. But now it's not too good. It only has a 2100 milliamp-hour battery, which is pretty small, but when I had it, I underclocked my phone a bit, and battery life lasted actually a bit longer. So what I recommend the Nexus for in 2018, honestly, if you ROM it and you flash the latest version and you don't care about storage, because there's only 16 gigabytes maximum that this phone came in, and you don't care about removable battery or removable storage or anything like that, then it's not that bad of an option, I'll be honest, as a backup phone, since it still has a bit of life left in it. I'm not sure if I would recommend it as a daily driver right now, because even though they're cheap, I feel like there's better options, you know, for a little bit more money. But honestly, I love the Nexus 4. I still have so much love for the Nexus 4. If you're on the fence of picking one up, I'll say go on eBay and just look at some used prices and pick it up. I mean, there's really no harm in getting it. And guys, that is pretty much it. This was a quick one. If you guys have any questions or anything, leave them down in the comment section below. I'll try my best to see them or something like that. Send me your prayers. I'm feeling a little bit better, like I said, of my sickness, but I think the fact that you guys are praying for me is speeding up my recovery, actually. Like this video as well. If you own a Nexus 4, let me know your experience down in the description, the comment section below. But more importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys, and hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out, till then.